Hello, everybody. This is Debbie, from Teacher Success Coach. I was meant to come on from last week because school started last week. And then I said I was going to come on this week, but this week was a very challenging week for me because it was the anniversary of my mother's death. So it was very, very challenging. So I decided to jump on right now to say hello to people. Did I see you guys New Year's? I must have done. I can't remember. Anyway, I've started back into schools. It's been challenging to say the least because some of the students, well, they're still going through the challenges because they've actually had, as I said to me today, Miss you teacher number 4, I think. So I said, and that's very good because in some schools I go to, I'm teacher number 6. So the fact that I'm teacher number 4, that's pretty good. And as you know, when we have students, they always have to tell us about our predecessor. And something I say to students, I'm not interested, so don't even bother to tell me because I don't want to know. Because the same way you're talking about the teacher to me, when I'm no longer there, you'll be talking about me to the other teacher that replaced me. So I'm not interested. It's the children are going through a few challenges, but it's a lovely, lovely, lovely school. I really do love the school. It's an inner city London school. I've worked in inner city London school before, but this is, the school is quite, most of the inner city schools I've worked in is quite deprived. However, we should not allow what the inner city schools are like to be used to determine the type of students that they become. I was saying that to them yesterday because they had one of them came up to me in the lesson. He had a lot of things to say. Oh, this school is X, this school is Y, this school is the school in the whatever in the country, etc. Regarding the status of the school. I said to them, I say, you know what? I said to the young student, the young guy, I say, I'm not interested. I say, whatever your school is should not be the factor to define you. It's what you come out with that is important, right? Because you could have gone to a fantastic private school, an independent school, and yet still you did not come out with what you meant to be coming out with. Because when I say to them, when I start introducing myself and I said to them, I taught in a number of private schools, for them it's, oh, Miss, you have? I said, so what? What's the big deal with the private school? I say, the interesting thing, some of you're much more in terms of empathetic than the students in a private school because they're too privileged. They don't understand real life. I had an interview a few weeks ago to, it's an independent school, but they have a lot of students who are well-to-do, and something the deputy principal said that, oh, it'd be really nice if you accept the offer for the school, because a lot of the students, you see, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are really privileged. So the fact that you've worked in prison and places like that, they need the real experience. As it turned out, I didn't go into the school. I didn't accept the school. I didn't want the school. I didn't want the school because I didn't fit in. I no longer fit into those establishments. Right? I've been there, I've done it, and I no longer feel that I need to fit in to an independent school or a highly selected school or private school. And I'm choosing not to get involved in that because I do feel that where that I'm needed and where I feel that God wants me to be is in schools that I could make a major difference, i.e., schools where you have the students are being challenged due to financial and economic factors. And my role would be empowering them to make them feel that they could do better in spite of the environment. And I do feel that is where I'm needed right now. So in terms of me taking schools that either independent schools or schools that are selected schools or schools that are, I suppose, highly or schools that have, what is it called, Ofsted rating of, um, what is the rating? Excellent school or whatever they rate them. I do not feel that I need to be in those type of school anymore or now. I feel the school I need to be in right now and probably continue on is where I could make a difference to empower the students in terms of their well-being, to empower them in terms of where they are at, in terms of their mindset, etc. And this is what's happening in the school I'm in. The interesting thing about it is I had my head of department came to me today and said to me, "Oh, thank you very much, for coming and rescue us." And I'm looking at her, really? And she said, yes. She said, she said, you've made a major impact on the students already, and the students are connecting, etc. And something she said which was really interesting. One of the students actually actually tell him to step out of my class yesterday. I yet treat him. He came in, it's like pushing boundaries and the behavior aspect, and he came in and started chattering and disrupting the class. He came in late. He came in 10 minutes before the class finished. And the frustrating thing for me was you came in late and you began to talk. Really? I said to him, step out. Oh, but miss nothing, step out. Because you came in late and then you began to disrupt my class. Because I had a flow going with my students and you disrupt the class, so get out. And he went and he was saying to the head of department today, I think he said to her today, or probably, yeah, it would be today because I saw him last lesson yesterday. Miss, I really not too sure of this about this teacher, which is me. So she's saying to him, what happened? He said, well, I'm not too sure about this teacher. But what he didn't tell her was he was late, and he came in 10 minutes before the end of my lesson, and I tell him to get out and stay out because he was disrupting my lesson. So when I was saying that today to her, she just looked at me and she said to me, that's interesting. He didn't even say anything to me like that. All he says, Miss, I don't know about this teacher. And as you know, as I know, and anybody who are teachers, anytime we go to schools, the students testing boundaries, testing in terms of, are you qualified for the position? Do they see you as a good teacher, etc.? One student said to me yesterday, one of the questions he asked me, and this is a question a lot of students ask me, oh, have you got the qualification to teach? I said to him, I don't know. What do you think? I said, you had a teacher you all are complaining to me about. And did you ask her that question? So why is it you feel that you're going to be asking me this question? I said, you need to see for yourself. I said, you need to decide whether or not you feel I have the all the criteria necessary to teach you. And if you think I don't have it, then you make a decision. Another thing the student seems to be fascinated with regarding Miss, where you from? Today I was doing library duty because part of my timetable is doing library duty, supervising the students in the library. So I was doing my, preparing my lesson, etc. So they're coming up to me, Miss, where are you from? What is it doing for my lesson? Is it making me less of an academic? I'm less of an academia. What is it doing? Is it making me less of a teacher? Why do you need to know where I come from? So this is something that's been, ongoing for this week with my students. Miss, where you from? And I keep on saying to them, I was born here, my parents was born here, etc. I say, but if you want to look at ethnicity, they're from Africa. No, miss, that's not what I mean. Well, I'm not too sure what you guys mean. So this is another fascinating aspect I'm getting from my students, the where you're from. So I say to them, do you know when someone in high position asks another individual where they're from, they actually end up being sacked? So you guys need to think about that. One of them said to me, Miss, well, I'm black myself. Right? So I said to him, okay, that's interesting. So it's been an interesting session with my students, especially this week, because the majority of them are back this week and trying to navigate, etc. But one of the things I've done this week is I have sent a lot of them out of my class because the disruption was very high. And as I said to them, I'm not about to put up with the constant disruption, which means that other students are not given the opportunity to learn. I had a year 10 yesterday, and then there is a team called the walkabout team, so which means they walk up and down the corridor. And if you send a student out, they will pick them up and they're likely to put them in the exclusion room. So they actually get excluded from the classroom and included in this inclusion room and do their work. So yesterday, I think it was 6 of them from year 10 sociology. The minute I actually sent them out, they were picked up by the walkabout team and they were put into the isolation. So therefore, they had to walk by themselves, etc., etc. It made such a difference to my lesson because by that time, I think the students realized that I am serious, that I'm not going to put up with the rubbish in terms of the behavior, and they need to get sorted. Because I've said to them that the school is not paying me to do nothing with them. The school is paying me to deliver lesson, and to not just deliver lesson, to deliver high quality lesson. And that's what I'm about to do. So after I've actually sent the number of them from year 10 out, I had a fantastic session because we start looking at the family, and they were discussing the type of family they were from, extended family, explaining it in terms of why did I say it was extended family. And then I show them that because grandparents are living in the house, so it's extended out, it's extended with grandparents, etc. And then we're looking at the nuclear family, which is the so-called traditional family. And then we start looking at the single family, which is now called the independent household family. So it was really good because after that, I had my student. They were sorted. It's like today I met one of them who actually I asked to leave my lesson, and she was actually put in the exclusion, either exclusion or inclusion, I can't remember what they call it. And I saw her while I was having lunch. She came up to say, "Hi, miss." I said, "Hello," because I can't remember the students, right? And she said, "Oh, I'm going to be in your lesson next week." I said, "Oh?" She said, "Oh, because yesterday I was sent out, blah, 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 etc., etc. So, but I'm okay." She said, "And everything is fine." I said, "Okay, that's fantastic. So I'll see you next week." She says, "Yes, you're going to see me next week." I thought, brilliant. That was one of the students I actually sent out of my lesson because she was being disruptive. Because someone said something, I think I asked them to start reading, and they started laughing. So that was time for them to go outside, because I told them at the beginning of the lesson, I do not accept students laughing at each other. If a student is saying something wrong or pronouncing what's wrong, I don't expect you to laugh at them. It's okay to make mistakes. From mistakes we learn. And what they did, exactly what I told them not to do, as students started to read, they began to laugh. So I just sent them outside. And I said I want them not just to go outside, I want them to reflect on the behavior. And then we discuss it after. So hopefully next week I'm going to spend probably the first 5 minutes going through this behavior which we experienced yesterday. Anyway, guys, school is challenging as normal, but it is also very rewarding, and I'm quite enjoying it because I feel that group of students and that school I'm teaching in, I feel they need me, and I feel I could give them quite a lot through my experiences. And the students are really behind because the teacher who was there before, I'm not too sure how much she was able to connect with them. Not the student's fault, but how much she enjoyed the session. Because the more you're able to give to your student is through you enjoying the lesson. Because as I see on my platform today, the student was showing me the workbook, and I don't teach in workbook. I don't deal in workbooks. I cannot connect with workbooks. And I say to them, okay, yes, I see you have the workbook, but you need to put it away and do not bring it to my lesson, because we're going to be doing very much practical aspect of learning where we discuss, we identify the areas, discuss, and then you summarize. You summarize using PowerPoint. So you summarize using mind map or sketch map. So that was what I've said to them, and there seems to, the group I had yesterday, I had the same group today as well, the sixth form, and there seems to be connecting with that. Because they even said to me, oh Miss, I've got a book that I use for mind map, so I'll bring it in next week. That's fine. Whatever works well for you. So in terms of all of that, it's been an interesting, few days or weeks journey in terms of where the students are at and where I'm at with the student, etc. It's been nice. I'm not too sure what I could say to you, what I'll say to you by next week, whether or not I'll still have that heightened level of enjoyment. But all for now, it's been, so far, pretty good. And as I say, it's an inner city school. And as we know, schools in the inner city, they've got a lot of challenges in terms of economical, financial, and all of those things. Because I have worked in an inner city school before, but it was not as deprived, I guess, as this one. But the students are fantastic. They're really high level students. As I keep on reminding them, do not allow the environment to define you, because you could do greatness, and I believe in you, so you need to believe in yourself. Anyway, guys, take care, stay blessed, and I will see you all next. Oh no, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I've got a show tomorrow, which is interviewing female educators around the world, and we are talking about what teaching happened like during COVID, before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. We're now looking at after COVID, what are the issues after COVID? One of the issues for me is we doing business as usual, as if we have not even had a pandemic. The students have been treated as if they're fine, because it's been expected that they're young people and they're resilient. People are forgetting they're young people, but they also have emotion they don't know how to regulate. Right? So those are some of the things that we are dealing with in terms of the challenges. So we are going to continue to discuss it on my platform on Saturdays from 7 p.m. UK time, and on Friday we look at home education, because I do feel it is important for parents, guardians, carers to realize there is an alternative to the traditional education, which works fantastically well, which meet the students or meet the children where they are, and it goes at the children's pace, and it increases their creativity, and it reduces conditioning and programming, which the education system does, either through the hidden curriculum or through the national curriculum itself. School program these young people, as I said, through the hidden curriculum or the national curriculum. And it's about time parents realize there is an alternative to the traditional education, and it works well, and your children or your child could get exactly the same benefit in terms of further education and getting a degree, etc. But one of the major differences, you are teaching the child according to their learning style, according to their needs, and according to their ability. That's one of the biggest difference. Anyway, guys, take care, stay blessed, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening on my show. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot for listening. Hi, Melif. Bye-bye.